Hello all. Thanks to Jen and Ecowell, I have this opportunity today to talk about my passion, cosmetic product safety. I am Mojgan Modderesi, Aka Dr. M, Managing Director of Personal Care Regulatory. And my hobby is by the end of this presentation, I can slightly change your view on how to evaluate your product safety. So let's talk about what we have been doing during the last 11 years at Personal Care Regulatory. We are a team of experienced toxicologists and regulatory advisors with passion for looking after our brands and product safety. Our USP is a cloud-based in-house software that has plenty of detailed tox profile of each ingredient, and it helps us to provide a very detailed safety assessment for cosmetic products. We have offices in the EU and in the UK. We are responsible person for over 6,000 products in this both region. We provide different type of service, end-to-end compliance, and and helping the brands to kind of grow globally with providing relevant regulatory advice. We are a partner of local primary authority in the UK and member of several associations to make sure that we are always ahead of curve for any regulatory changes that may come, in the air. We are also being presented in different platforms in cosmetic industries. So let's talk about safety evaluation of cosmetic products and how we do this evaluation. Safety evaluation of cosmetic products in the EU and UK is based on risk assessment. Risk assessment is usually, based on two important pillars. One is about ingredient risk assessment, and the other is about finished product risk assessment. Ingredient risk assessment is based on the tox profile of each ingredient, regulatory restriction, and quality of raw material. And for the finished product, we look at the elements like stability, microbiology, how the products, is being manufactured, what is the specification of the finished product. So all of those factors that you may see here, they can play an important impact on the evaluation of the safety of the finished product. I want to go to details a little bit more about basically risk assessment of each ingredient. Risk assessment of each ingredient in cosmetic products is being done based on calculating of margin of safety. Margin of safety is being calculated by using a value in toxicology, which is called NOEL value. NOEL value is no observed adverse effect level. It means the level of ingredient that under that level, it cannot create any safety harm for human. And also we look at the systemic exposure of that ingredient. For example, if you have an ingredient being used in lipstick, it may have a different margin of safety compared to the same ingredient with the same concentration for a body product. So systemic exposure dose is very important. After all, we all know that what makes a poison is the dose. So here is an example of how the toxicological profile looks like. There are different elements into that, like skin irritation, ocular irritation, sensitization, phototoxicity, genotoxicity, and any human study that there may be in the literature. We always look at the latest literature to make sure that we use reliable peer-reviewed journal and resources to create the tox profile of ingredient. Here is another example of how the margin of safety is being calculated in detail. As you may see, the site of application, surface area, duration and frequency of use of that product, and what is the retention factor. All of those elements are important and can impact the margin of safety. And if the margin of safety for each ingredient is above 100, so that product, the finished product, there is a lower possibility of any safety impact for the consumer. I want to discuss a little bit more detail about raw material because specifically in our company, we believe safety assessment is not just a checklist of calculating margin of safety. Safety assessment is about evaluation of each ingredient risk assessment, and quality of raw material can have a very important impact on this assessment. For example, let's say talc. We all know that the famous, situation with J&J and talc products. The talc ingredient, the talc products, is not safe, not just because of talc, but because of the impurity in talc. Or, for example, let's talk about, an ingredient as a preservative, phenoxyethanol. Phenoxyethanol is regulated in the EU and UK under Annex 5, which is the list of allowed preservative. And by 1%, it is safe to be used in cosmetic products. However, the same ingredient, it may have the different safety impact from different resources. If the phenol impurity in phenoxyethanol is above 0.5, that ingredient may not be safe. So raw material quality and impurity have a very important impact on safety of raw material. Let's talk about the stability. Stability is quality of a finished cosmetic product. And again, it can have, a very important impact on the safety. If the pH is being fluctuated, is above, is very acidic or is very alkaline, or the packaging of the product, the sealing, the migration of the impurity of the packaging, all of those elements can impact the quality of finished products. From my point of view, microbiological quality of the finished product, it is something that we never compromise on that. I know that there is a trend about, preservative-free products, but you have to kind of bear in mind that a risk of contaminated product with pathogenic microorganism can be much more of any hazardous ingredient, because if you use a contaminated product, it can definitely create irritation and sensitization. So quality of finished product, microbiological quality is very important for the safety. Let's look at how we approach safety evaluation of cosmetic product in the US. In the US, human patch test is usually something that used as standard, I can say, for a cosmetic product. And usually all of the product routinely goes under human patch test. There are different methods. There are different duration for that one. And usually what it does, it kind of projects the irritation of the finished cosmetic product. There are lots of question and discussion about if the patch test can be a very good irritation evaluation. I don't want to kind of go through that, discussion, but my question here is, let's say that the patch test, whatever the method, can be a good, sign for evaluating the irritation of a finished product. Is it going to be enough for proving the safety of the product? So that is my question here. For example, again, the famous example of J&J and talc. If you do the patch test with talc, even with asbestos, within 24 or 48 hours, you won't see any irritation. But does it mean the product is safe? I leave the judgment to you. The other resource in the US is the CIR review. CIR is basically a council of experienced toxicologists that they come together, and based on the available research and scientific study, based on the evidence, they come to a conclusion if an ingredient or a family of ingredients are safe to be used in cosmetic products. It is a very reliable source. We also use this source for assessing the ingredient and use this information in our tox profile. The other way of looking at the safety, which kind of, brand use usually in the US or many parts of the world to communicate the safety of their product, is having a list of free from ingredients. So basically, the idea is if we say our product does not contain, for example, certain ingredient like parabens, mineral oil, our product is safe. And my question here is the safety of the product is based on what it contains or based on what it doesn't have? Can it be a very good standard to communicate and safety of your products with your consumer? The other way is hazard evaluation. So it's a grading system. It's popular in the US. It is not allowed in the EU and UK, but very popular in the US. And basically, it kind of look at the hazard of ingredient based on very limited information of that ingredient. And they kind of give it a grade, like, grade 1, grade 2. So if it is the higher the grade, the hazard is higher. And based on that, they kind of, conclude if a product is safe or not. But what is the difference between hazard identification and the risk assessment? I personally like this EFSA present infographic very well. It's just a very good, example of what is hazard and what is risk. And my favorite is the shark. So if you're standing by the seaside and looking at a shark, that shark is just a hazard for you. It cannot kind of, create a risk for your safety. But if you go in the different circumstances that we go and kind of swim with the shark, so that would be a risk. So hazard identification is so different with the human health risk. So what it kind of, translated to in terms of the safety assessment of the product. Let's look at lavender oil. It's a very common essential oil. It's been used in many cosmetic products. And based on hazard identification, it is safe. It has a very good grade. But let's look at actually what lavender oil is made of. As we are aware, perfumes and essential oils are not only one ingredient. They are different components in each, ingredient, sometimes over, 40, 50 in each essential oils. And these components can vary from the source of the herbs and how the essential oil is being manufactured. And that component can have a very important impact on the safety of the essential oil. I am sure that all of you are aware of IFRA, which is the International Fragrance Association. And what they do, they kind of, do quantitative risk assessment for essential oils and perfume. And they look at the different components and they have a standard. For example, if the linalool in lavender oil has peroxide level above 20 millimole, it can create sensitization. So it is not the general fact that every lavender oil, essential oil is safe. So it's very important what is, is made of, what is the quality of that, oil. And again, is it safe for different application? It is safe for example, application for face by what percentage? So it is not completely safe just based on it because it is lavender oil, it comes from nature. So you can see the difference between quantitative risk assessment and the hazard identification here. One of the issues that I want to finish my presentation with a very important kind of fact of communicating safety. It is one of the problems that many brands they kind of encounter, how they communicate the safety of their product. Is free from this is good enough, or they may need to have, further tools for this communication. How they can actually tell the end user that their product is safe. In the UK and EU, we have this safety assessment report, which is obligatory based on the regulation. However, this report is very technical. It usually contains IP of the products. So for example, exact concentration, where it is manufactured. It is not a report that a brand owner can share with consumer in order to communicate the safety of their products. It is a technical report, and you need to be a toxicologist to understand this report. So basically, the communication of the safety, just by sharing the safety report based on the EU and UK regulation, may not be a very good option. Having had this issue in mind, what we did in PCR, we have a safety kind of report that we create after we create the safety assessment for brand for their consumer. So what we have done, we kind of envisage the risk assessment in a more easier way to understand. I don't have these details. I don't want to kind of share and go to talk about it in more detail, but we kind of create a way for brand owner with this report to have a visual understanding of safety of their product and how to communicate it. For example, what is the percentage of different function of ingredient in this product, and each ingredient, are they endocrine disruptor? Do they have any issue in their safety? So basically what we did, we tried to kind of visualize the risk assessment in this report. And it was a very good way of communicating safety of cosmetic product, especially in a public platform like a brand's website. So here we are. We hope that we can support you through your journey of communication of safety of your product with your consumer and launching your brand in the EU and UK. Get in touch with us. We would like to hear from you. And if you have attended this workshop, please definitely use this opportunity, because we can offer you one-to-one free of charge consultation. So that is the email. Get in touch, and we are looking forward to hear from you. Thank you.